Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another exciting and eye-opening journey into the fascinating world of coin collecting, where the ordinary can suddenly turn into the extraordinary. And today we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 1985 1-cent coin from the Denver Mint that has stunned collectors and investors alike by reaching an unbelievable value of $6 million because of its remarkable errors, its minting mistakes, and the rare possibilities that surround its existence. And while at first glance the 1985 penny looks like just another common copper-plated zinc Lincoln cent that millions of people handle daily in change jars, vending machines, and piggy banks, the truth is that a very small number of these coins turned out to be anything but ordinary, hiding secrets that only sharp-eyed collectors and numismatic experts would eventually uncover, transforming them into some of the most valuable and desirable coins in the modern numismatic market. And this is what makes the story so thrilling, because the idea that something as small and humble as a penny struck in 1985 at the Denver Mint could carry a value of $6 million shows just how powerful and transformative minting errors and rare mistakes can be when combined with rarity, demand, and historical context. So let us set the stage by remembering that by 1985 the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from the earlier copper-based cents of 1909 through 1982 into the zinc composition cents that weigh 2.5 grams and are made of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, a change that was made due to rising copper costs, and the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins in 1985 with the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use since 1959, and with such massive production numbers one would assume that every coin was exactly the same. But history has shown us that even in the most automated and controlled environments, mistakes can and do happen. And when they happen in strikingly dramatic ways, they create the kind of anomalies that fuel the dreams of collectors worldwide, and that is where the 1985 cent enters the picture, because while most pieces struck that year are worth only face value, a select few left the mint with astonishing mint errors that pushed their values into the stratosphere. And in the case of the $6 million example, experts agree that its value is tied to a perfect storm of minting anomalies, rarity, uniqueness, and collector demand that all converge to elevate this small coin into a true legend of modern numismatics. So let us examine what types of errors could possibly exist on such a coin and why they can make it so valuable. And one of the most important categories to consider is the double die error, where the coin die itself receives multiple misaligned impressions from the hub, leaving behind noticeable doubling on the struck coins. And in the mid-1980s there were known double dies on Lincoln cents, sometimes subtle but other times bold and dramatic, and a double die obverse with doubling visible on the date 1985, the letters of liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust" could transform a coin into a highly collectible rarity, and if such doubling were bold and dramatic on a Denver Mint strike it would already fetch high premiums. But if combined with other errors it could push values to astronomical levels. And then there are off-center strikes, a type of error where the blank planchet is not properly seated in the striking chamber and the dies hit it off-center, leaving part of the coin design missing and a blank crescent-shaped area exposed. And extreme off-center strikes with the full date visible are very rare and sought after, and a 1985 penny with an off-center strike combined with a double die could easily be one of a kind, making it incredibly valuable. And then there are transitional errors, one of the most famous categories in the Lincoln cent series, where coins are struck on the wrong planchet or wrong metal composition. And although by 1985 all cents were supposed to be zinc with copper plating, it is always possible that leftover copper planchets from 1982 or even foreign coin planchets intended for other countries accidentally slipped into production. And such wrong planchet errors can be worth huge sums because they were never intended to exist. And if a 1985 penny was struck on a solid copper planchet weighing 3.1 grams, it would be a true rarity since copper cents had officially ended 3 years earlier. And if that wrong planchet strike also included a double die or off-center misalignment, the result could be a coin so rare that it is literally unique in the world. And in numismatics uniqueness equals extreme value. And then we must consider die clash errors, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring ghostly impressions of one design onto the other side of the coin. And dramatic clash marks can create fascinating and collectible coins, especially when they appear in unusual places like Lincoln's portrait or inside the memorial columns. And then there are broad strikes and multiple strike errors, where the collar that normally contains the coin fails and the design spreads outward, or where a coin is struck more than once, leaving overlapping design features, both of which can make coins look bizarre and highly collectible, and in very rare cases multiple errors occur simultaneously, creating a coin that is literally one of a kind, and this is believed to be the case with the $6 million 1985 D penny, where reports suggest it was a wrong planchet strike, possibly on a leftover copper planchet, with dramatic doubling on the obverse and a significant off-center misalignment, all authenticated and certified by professional grading services as genuine mint errors of the highest order. And when such a coin surfaced in the marketplace, it set off a storm among wealthy collectors who understood its significance, leading to fierce bidding wars and ultimately to the $6 million hammer price that forever etched this coin into numismatic history. But beyond the technical side of errors and minting mistakes, we must also recognize the human side of this story. Because the fascination with error coins comes from the idea that imperfection creates beauty and value, and that even in a system designed for uniformity and mass production, accidents slip through that defy expectations and become treasures, and people love the idea that something as ordinary as a penny could hide a secret so valuable that it could change lives, and that idea fuels the treasure-hunting spirit of coin collectors, who spend hours searching through rolls of pennies from banks, examining pocket change under magnification, and comparing coins against reference guides in hopes of finding their own miracle. And the 1985 D penny valued at $6 million represents the ultimate dream realized, proof that it is possible to find unimaginable value in the smallest of places, and this is why coin collecting remains such an engaging and enduring hobby, combining history, art, economics, and the thrill of discovery into one. Now let us take a closer look at the Denver Mint context. Because the mint mark D indicates the coin was struck in Denver, Colorado, a facility known for high-volume production, and in 1985 the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of cents, yet despite those massive numbers, only a few rare anomalies like this slipped through, and that contrast between billions of ordinary coins and a single extraordinary one makes the error all the more valuable, because rarity in the face of mass production is what drives collector demand, and once authentication and certification confirmed its legitimacy, the coin became not just a collectible but also a cultural artifact, a reminder that even modern coins can achieve legendary status alongside classics like the 1909 SVDB, the 1955 Double Die, the 1969 S Double Die, and the famous 1943 Copper Cent. And when a modern cent joins this pantheon, it shows how vibrant and dynamic the field of numismatics remains. Now some skeptics may ask how a small cent could ever be worth $6 million. But the principles of supply and demand explain it clearly, because when a coin is unique, authenticated, and desired by multiple wealthy collectors, its value can skyrocket just as art pieces or rare stamps do. And when the story behind the coin is compelling, combining minting history, human error, and the romance of discovery, the price becomes not just about metal or design but about history and legacy, and that is what the $6 million 1985 D cent represents: a story, a legacy, a miracle of survival, and a tangible connection to the unpredictability of minting. And this is why its value is justified in the eyes of those who compete to own it. And looking forward, the legend of this coin will continue to inspire, reminding collectors everywhere to check their change, to study their coins, and to keep the dream alive, because treasures like this are out there, waiting to be found. And the 1985 D1 cent valued at $6 million stands as living proof that in the world of numismatics, anything is possible, and the next great discovery could be resting right now in someone's pocket, unnoticed but destined to change history forever.